Hello, everyone. Hope all of you are doing well. And in today's lesson, we're going to have a look at lesson 9.3, which is all about functions and the function machines. So here, as you see, I got a function machine here. This is how a function machine looks. So I can represent the function in many different ways. First, you can start representing this function in the form of a table, which is what we call table of values. So here, as you see here in the table, it is when x is 0, they are giving you the values. They might request from you different values for x. But for in this case or in this example, they're requesting from you when x is 0. What is y going to be? When x is 1, what is y going to be? Using the function machine that is provided to you here. So here, when x is 0, what happens to the x until I reach the y? This is my final destination. I'm going to take the x, square it, then add 1 to it. So 0 squared is just a 0. Add 1 to it is going to become a 1. Then when x is 1, 1 squared is 1. Add 1 to it, it becomes a 2. Then 2, 2 squared is 4. Add 1 to it, it becomes 5. 3 squared becomes 9. 9 plus 1 becomes 10. And now I got the table of value completed. But this is not the only way you're going to represent the function. I can represent the function also using a mapping diagram. How does the mapping diagram look? It looks exactly this way. Look at this. Here is the mapping diagram. After I finished the table of values, I can connect the mapping diagram this way. I have kind of like a number line for x and another number line for y. And I just started connecting the numbers. The 0, you connected with 1. 0 from the x, connected with 1 from the y. So how do I do the mapping diagram? I depend completely on the table of values. So 0 with 1, just match. 1 with 2, match. 2 with 5, match. 3 with 10, match. And don't forget the arrow. Okay. All right. That's what we call a mapping diagram. And this is what we call again the table of values. All right. If I want the equation, so the mapping diagram, actually the table of values and the mapping diagram are extremely easy and they depend completely on, like in the table here, the table of values depends completely on how well you read the function. So let's continue over here with the function machine. This function machine, it says to you, you square the x, it gives you the y. So x, square it, you get y. So when x is 0, square it becomes 0. 1, square it, 1. 2 square it, 4, 3 square it, 9, and so on. But sometimes also the function machine includes more than one operation, like this. Here, look at that. They're telling you here the x. To get the y, what are we supposed to do in order to reach y? You cube the x, then minus 3. Then you get the y. So here, if I cube the x, which is 1 cubed, it becomes a 1. Then minus 3. 1 minus 3 is negative 2. Now I got the y. Next, if x is 3, then 3 cubed, which is 27. Minus 3, you get 24. So this is 24. 5, if x is 5, 5 cubed, which is 125, minus 3 equals 122, and so on. All right, so this is all about the mapping diagram and the table of values. What else is there? They might request from you to write the equation for the function machine, or a reverse equation. Like what? Look at this here. Here they want from us to write an equation and to work out the reverse equation as well. What is an equation? Well, the equation takes us here through the correct direction or the normal direction of the function machine. Here in this function machine, What is my final destination? What am I going to reach at the end? If I follow the arrows, what will I reach at the end? If you follow the arrows, you're going to move from X, you square it, you get the Y. So my final destination is the Y. So the equation would be for this question here, let me just open just a second. Here you go. All right, look at this here. In question A, to find y. So this is my final destination. Look, to find y. What am I supposed to do? You start from there about. In order to find y, I'm gonna start from the beginning, which is x. And what do I do to the x? You square it. Thank you. This is the equation of question what? Question A. What about question B? I want the equation. It is also to find y. This is my final destination. So to find y, what do I do? You start with x. I start with what? With x. Yes, this is my beginning in order to reach y at the end. So I start with x. What do I do to x? Divided by 2. Okay, so over 2. Then what do I do? Then you square the answer. Oh, don't go there and write square. This will be wrong. Oh, mister, they said square. Yes, but they said square the answer, not square the x. So I have to square everything. All right. So y equals x over 2 and all squared at the end. Okay, like this. Question C. That was C actually, and B he was there. All right, it doesn't matter the letters. Here they're telling you also the final destination is Y. I need to reach the Y, which is the output actually. I'm calling it final destination, but actually it's called output. The output is going to be the Y. How can I reach the Y? You start with X. So here you go, X. Then you minus 4. I minus 4 from the X. What is after that? Then you square. Oh, if you write square here, it will be wrong again. I'm squaring everything that happened so far. Squaring is the last thing, so I'm squaring everything that happened so far. I'm gonna square, so it's y equals x minus 4 to the power of 2. All right? And this is how we did the equation. From the equation, I can start the table of values. So for example, let's start with maybe you write C. I'm gonna draw right now the table of values for C. They can give you table of values this way, X, Y. They are the ones who are going to give you the value. Don't worry about this. So they might say to you, start here with 2 and then 4 and then 6 and so on. So how can we do this? I'm going to remove the x and just write a 2. After I found the equation, I'm going to do what? The table of values. So the first thing to do the table of values, you must have an equation like the one that we've done over here. All right, to find y, we said it's x minus 4. All is squared. يبقى I remove the x and I write just a 2. يبقى 2 minus 4, negative 2. Square the negative 2 becomes positive 4. 4 minus 4, 0. Square the 0 is 0. 6 minus 4 is 2. 2 squared is 4. Now I have done the table of values. From the table of values, they might request from me the mapping diagram and so on. All right. So now we learned all about the table of values. We learned all about the mapping diagram. We learned also all about how to write an equation from a function machine like this one here. Okay, let's continue with the last part of the lesson, which is writing a reverse equation. How can I write a reverse equation? All right, look at that here. A reverse equation, let's start. If I have here question like A. They want from you a reverse equation. What do you mean, Mr. Reverse? Reverse is kind of like as if you're driving a car. Reverse means you're going backwards, not moving forwards. So here, instead of making it the Y your destination, you need to make the X your destination. So I want X equals, not Y equals. This is what they mean by the reverse equation. X equals what? To get X. Do you remember when we said to get Y, start from X? Yes, we said this, but now it's reverse equation. To get X, start from Y. So I'm going to start from Y to find X. So you go. Here is Y. But I'm going to move backwards. What is going to happen until I reach X? It gets squared? No, mister. It is reverse. So I use the inverse operation, the opposite. The opposite of multiplication is what? What is the opposite of multiplication? In the reverse equation, if I come across multiplication, actually the opposite of it is division. The opposite of division is multiplication. The opposite of addition is subtraction. The opposite of subtraction is addition. But what about the opposite of squared? If they give me a number squared, what is the opposite of it, mister? It is square root. And what is the opposite of cube? It is cube root. And what is the opposite of, let's say, to the power of 7? It is the seventh root. I write it this way. Oh, mister, I've never seen this. Yes, you write it this way. The seventh root. Okay, so these are the opposites. Okay, let's continue here with question C. If I wanted the reverse equation, okay, so how can I do it? I'm going to start the reverse equation. They mean it's not y equals. Y equals, that's the normal equation. But they want to reverse equation, so they want to reach the x. So x equals. If you want to find the x, start from the y. Okay, here you go, miss. The y. Oh, guys, I forgot to finish the first one. The first one, I'm sorry. We said here to find the x, start with the y. So I started with the y here in the first question, A. And then I'm going backwards. I came across squared, but we said because this is reverse, I have to use the opposite operation. So it's squared, it becomes square root of y. So x is the square root of y. All right, let's get back to question C. Sorry about this confusion. Question C, to find x, I started with y. So x equals y, opposite operation, squared, هتبقى square root, yes. So y is square rooted. Then divided by 2? No, it will be multiplied by 2. I can write it in other words. Actually, I can say x equals 2 square root of y, which means 2 times square root of y. All right, question D, or actually here is what we call E. Letter E here, question E. The reverse equation is find x. So x equals. I must start with y. So x equals y. What happened to the y? Squared? No, then it's going to be square root. Here you go. So square root of y. The minus 4? No, it's going to be plus 4. Oh, mister, can I put the plus 4 under the square root? No, you square rooted only the y. So whatever is going to happen after that is out of the square root. So it's only y, but the y is going to get square rooted. So it's square root of y. Then the answer of that, you add with the 4. Okay? I want actually to answer a few more questions. So let's go to the right side over here and remove everything. Question B. I'm going to write the equation and the reverse equation. The equation, I want to find y. So y equals, I start with the x. and do what to it? Cube it, so x cubed. So what if I wanted the reverse equation? So x equals, what am I supposed to do? Start with the y. Go backwards. Oh, it's cube root of y. Question D. Question D. Here, uh, if I want to the equation y equals and start with x. All right, what happens to the x? X is going, look at this. This is not reverse. All right, y equals to reach the y. I'm going to go this direction, following the arrows. Nothing is reverse. Okay, so it is x. I'm going to square it, and then you add to it 3. What about the reverse? Reverse, it means I want x. So I start from y, but it is reverse, so opposite. Y, you minus from it 3, and the answer of everything, you square root it. So it's square root not of only y, not square root of only 3, it's square root of the answer. So I do y minus 3, and the answer is square rooted. Here you go. Last question in the video. Here, question F. If I want, just a second. Question F. If I want the equation, not the reverse equation, so it's y equals, start from the x and go smoothly until you reach y. So x, but what am I going to do to the x? Multiply by 2. So 2x. That's it? No, not yet. And then cube everything at the end. 2x cubed. All right, good. What about the reverse? Reverse, it means I want to find the x. If x equals, I start from the y. So x equals y. What happens? You get the cube root. Don't forget, it's reverse. So cube root of y. After that, I multiply by 2? No, I divide by 2. So all of it, so y, the cube root of y, then everything, the answer is over 2. That's it. Thank you so much, and see you in another video.